Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders on issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Ann Marie Sorrell.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Lunch with Legacy Leaders. I am your host, Ann Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Broward Health and the Florida Lottery, for making this broadcast possible. Today we have a great guest, one of my good friends, longtime friends, Mr. Frank Hayden, who is the Director of the Office of Equal Opportunity for the City of West Palm Beach, as well as the President of the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County. Let's welcome Mr. Hayden.
Hello, Ann Marie, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. You didn't have to put so many long friends on that. Lets people know how old I am. But it is a pleasure to be with you. Truly.
You're still super young. What are you talking about?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, for people who may not know you, which I don't know who that is, but let me give you a proper introduction just by sharing your bio with our audience. As the Director of the Office of Equal Opportunity, Frank Hayden creates and oversees programs designed to ensure equality and fair business practices within the city of West Palm Beach. His department is responsible for coordinating and facilitating programs that foster workforce development, business development, and professional education and training. The mission of the Office of Equal Opportunity is to ensure that all residents have equitable opportunities to do business with and or earn a competitive wage, working with the city of West Palm Beach. OEO works in partnership with other city departments, business-oriented and nonprofit agencies, public and private schools, and other government entities to carry out its mission. Prior to this position, Mr. Hayden was the procurement director for the city of West Palm, where he was responsible for the team that managed the city's purchasing for goods and services, commodities, construction, and professional services. Mr. Hayden led the creation of and growth of the Small Business Enterprise Program, which implemented revised ordinances for contract engagement and encouraged greater SBE participation. Mr. Hayden has more than 40 years of experience in procurement and has a well-earned reputation of creating opportunities for small, minority, and women-owned businesses. He is also the president of our local Palm Beach County Black Chamber of Commerce. He's an avid golfer. And he served as the chairman of the board for the Sickle Cell Foundation of Palm Beach and Martin counties. Of course, he's married to the beautiful Miss Marcia Hayden with one daughter, 3 sons, and 5 grandchildren. Welcome, Mr. Hayden.
Well, thank you. So if people didn't know, they know I'm old now, so that's all right. So, but thank you very much. It has truly been a good tenure here in the city of West Palm Beach. So I'm happy.
Absolutely. Well, I've been fortunate to work with you on several initiatives with the city, the chamber, and even prior to you being with the city. So back to South Florida Water Management District days. So yeah. Tell us about the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County.
Well, thank you very much. The Black Chamber in Palm Beach County has been in existence for quite a while. It initially started out of Riviera Beach, to be blunt with you, and we've kind of grown and transitioned from that point in time to now we're at a point where we're working to be more inclusive of our members and staff. So we have close to about 200 active members within the chamber. We work very closely with the various municipalities in order for us to provide benefits for our members and also businesses which are minority or small businesses within the various cities within Palm Beach County. But we are very active, very supportive of our members, and we offer a number of programs that are beneficial to the members of the Black Chamber.
Okay, awesome. So why is the Black Chamber important or significant?
Well, as you know, we're one of 16 chambers in Palm Beach County, and I would guess the what I classify as the big people on the block is the Palm Beach Chamber, which has probably over 1,000 members, and for the most part, they do their job to benefit their members. Well, for the most part, on top of that is a lot of times what happens, the big boys get the response from the organizations. And a lot of times minority owned businesses don't get that same kind of response and recognition. So the Black Chamber, such as the Hispanic Chamber, is there so that we can focus primarily on those individuals who look like us, so that we can work very closely with them to assist them in their needs. Because the needs of a minority owned business are a lot different from those of a non minority owned business. And you'd think it would be the same. I mean, they're looking for opportunities and so forth. But as you know, Ann Marie, by owning a company yourself, there are obstacles that minority owned firms face that majority firms don't face. And so our role and our job is to be a supportive mechanism to kind of help them through this maze that exists that keeps a lot of minority firms from being successful. So I would say we are the guardians of the gate to kind of help minority firms get their piece of the pie.
I wholeheartedly agree. For some of our viewers who may not be Black, and sometimes I get this question, even when we held our conference last week, we had comments on posts, why does there have to be a National Black Economic Conference? That's racist, da 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 da. So I think it's important for us to maybe help others understand what some of those challenges are that are unique or that our businesses face. Do you have some examples, especially that you may hear from not just your members, but being in a procurement role that you've been in for so many years? What are some of the challenges that Black-owned companies face that may not be faced by other businesses?
And Anne Marie, that comment that you said you get from people does not surprise me, because it's very difficult to understand the circumstances that beset some folks if you've never walked in their shoes, if you've never been in those kind of environments and in those situations. And so you would think that if you're a construction firm, for example, that you do as everybody else do. You bid on a project, and if your number's good, you're going to end up with that particular project. But that's not true for minority-owned firms. First of all, by the time minority-owned firms find out about a project, the pie's already been sliced up. So part of the problem that they have is getting access to information. The other problem is that majority firms um, have built relationships in municipalities so that they know in advance when work is coming up. They built a relationship with those folks who are making the decision, and so they get a leg up. Well, most minority firms don't have that kind of mechanism in place because they're too busy trying to keep their doors open. And so the other thing that impacts them tremendously is funding. A lot of minority firms realize late that they can be successful and win a project, but they didn't realize that they need money to do the work. They assume that once they get the job, then that's half the battle. They'll get paid by the city or municipality or county, and they'll be fine. But with most jobs, in order for you to get started, you got to have some capital to be able to make that happen. So there are some unique problems that beset minority firms that majority firms don't have. And it does not surprise me that they don't understand that, because they've never had to be in that position. But I think that's the other thing that's important of chambers like the Black Chamber and the Hispanic Chamber. And by the way, even though we are the Black Chamber, we welcome any ethnic group, whether they're African American or Hispanic, or even if they're white, to be a member. Because the only way that we're going to be able to settle or come to grips with what goes on is people have to be educated about what the problems are that exist for people who don't look like them.
Absolutely. No, and I agree with you. And I'm just sharing some comments that we have coming up. So, oh, man. And I'm glad that you made the comment that, although it's a Black chamber, and even for our friends at the Hispanic chamber, and even the women's chamber, right?
Yes, that's right.
Um,
That's right. I don't want to get in trouble. So yes, everybody, the
even
doors
right.
are wide open. Yes,
The doors are open, and
yeah.
it's not that we're excluding anyone. And I remember, and I mean, I got into Facebook battles about the conference. I was like, no, I think if anything, open mind to come and learn. And I think that's where we are in society when we talk about people having an open mind to learn about the challenges that different groups face when it comes to economics, when it comes to business, when it comes to jobs, healthcare, all those different facets. I think it's important for us all to have an open mind and know that although we're all human, we just don't all have the same opportunities. We don't have the same access
Yes,
that others have.
that's right. And Anne Marie, I've said this on occasions when I'm out talking to people. I'm I don't want any of these programs to be used as a crutch or an
Mhm.
excuse for people not standing on their own 2 feet. But at the same token, if you put all these hurdles and roadblocks and blocks in front of me, which slows me down from being able to be successful, we've got to be able to break those barriers down so that you can be successful. Now, once you're successful, then you ought to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Then you don't need these set asides and all those things to make it happen. But we're not there yet. And so until we get there, then we have to continue to work collectively to be able to make sure that everybody gets a fair share of the pie.
Absolutely. So, for businesses out there that may not be familiar with the chamber, what are the benefits of joining?
Well, I think the best way to answer that, Anne Marie, is kind of like uh, we have families. All of us have families, and we feel a comfort level, and we enjoy being with our families, and we feel at home with being with our family. And I think that's the same thing with the Black Chamber. You'll have businesses which are part of the Black Chamber who are just like each other, who are struggling for the same opportunities that other people are struggling for. And so you'll be with folks who you have some connection with. I think the other benefit is that we have the ability, as I was saying before, to kind of tear down some of those barriers that are keeping you behind. For example, with the Black Chamber here, we have a number of what I like to call community banks, which are part of the Black Chamber. And so they are working very closely with us in order to provide financing for these businesses. And in that case, they don't have to be minority owned businesses, but they're there to make that happen. And so we have those people who are part of our organization who understand the difficulties that a number of small businesses go through and are willing to step up and help them out. Aside from that, we also do connections with, for example, with the county, with the city of West Palm Beach. So if there's some opportunities there, we can make them aware of what those opportunities are for jobs that are coming up and the like, so that they can kind of be ahead of the ball. So I would say being a part of the Black Chamber gives you access to opportunities that you might not have if you're not part of our organization.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone got that access. Membership has its benefits.
Yeah, that is very true, and that's what we try to strive for people to be a part, is that we have an obligation for our members to help them and assist them in terms of trying to get ahead.
So let me ask you this question. So there, especially since not just since George Floyd, but even before the death of George Floyd and the protests. But I think more and more companies now have gotten woke, and so with the number of websites that people have creating, myself included, I created a website 5+ years ago, Black Business Loop, which I hope to partner with more chambers and organizations. But with a number of websites, social media groups about Black businesses, Black business Palm Beach, Black business Broward, Black business Florida, whoever, Wall Street, Black Wall Street, Buy Black, all of it. And now corporate companies like Google creating their own tools, and Facebook creating tools for and venues for Black-owned businesses. How do you see this impacting not just the Black Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beach County, but Black Chambers of Commerce across the board who are seeking these members, but now there's so much influx of join this, be a part of this, join this conversation, join this group. How do you compete with that?
Well, and you know, I've always kind of lived on the edge, and so I don't, I, uh, I just have to be myself. Let me answer it this way. Um, Once the glamour of all of this, and I don't mean Black people being murdered is glamorous, but right now, white majority firms, Google and all of those, it's popular to stand up and be supportive of so forth and so on. But pretty soon that's going to die down. And pretty soon they're going to go back and figure out another way to make some business. We're here. We're going to be here. When the lights go out, when they turn their attention to something else, the Black Chamber is going to be here. So I'm going to say, stay with who and deal with who you know. It's all right to take a look in their backyard to see how things are going, but in reality, pretty soon you're not going to be important to them anymore. They're going to turn to something else. So I'm saying, stick with what you know. We're going to be here for you. We're going to work with you, and we're going to help you to be successful. So don't get fooled by all the glamour and the glitter. When it's all said and done, like the people say, just come on back home. We're still here waiting.
Is there an opportunity for the Black chambers to maybe collaborate or find a way to join forces to make their efforts more long term, so it's not just a fad, right?
Hmm.
And then my second follow up, which I did ask our other two counterparts, Eric and Shahiwa, is there an opportunity to create more synergy and collaboration between the three chambers in South Florida?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the short answer to what you said is yes. We are always looking for opportunities and ways that we can expand, uh, in ways that we can help our members and other folks. And when you spoke about the collaboration between the Broward and Miami-Dade, we are working now to bring that into a situation where we will be able to work together. But like with everything else, you know, there has to be some kind of organizational structure. And so we're working on making that happen. But right now, folks from down in Howard do work up here in Palm Beach County. People in Palm Beach County do work in Broward and in Miami-Dade. So we're already doing that. But the bottom line is we need to structure it in such a way so that when I know about some opportunities that are happening in Palm Beach County, that I can channel that information to my counterpart, well, I say across the border, so that their members can take advantage of it. Yes, we have to be open to working with everybody and anybody in order to benefit our members. We cannot be that closed off that doesn't happen. Because as we were saying, that's what happens on the other side with our counterparts who are not people of color. That's what they do. They work with one another. They collaborate with one another. They share information with one another, and that's why they're successful. So we're willing to do the same thing. We will do the same thing, and I think that's crucial and important for us to work collectively together to make those things happen.
Absolutely. So I would be remiss if I did not incorporate your dual role that you serve here today.
Yeah, that's what pays the bills. So please.
So you are, and I know that this department was not, well, I think this department was newly created under the new mayor, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor Keith James.
Yeah, you are right.
So tell us about your role as director of the Office of Equal Opportunity. What does that mean exactly?
Well, Ann Marie, a number of people have asked me that question. And my short answer has been whatever the mayor wants me to do, that's what it is that I perform. But in reality, as part of my role when I was the director of procurement, we did a number of outreach events. We would provide opportunities for vendors to learn about projects that were going on within the city of West Palm Beach. We would act sometime as marketing tools for vendors as well, because with a number of small businesses, minority owned or small, they don't have time to go out and search for work or beat on the doors. They're too busy trying to pay the bills. So what we would do is we would bring together project managers, whether it was engineering or with the water or wastewater plant, bring them in, have a vendor come in and give them 3 to 4 minutes to do what I'd like to call their song and dance before these people so that they get to know who they are. Because a lot of times when you submit a proposal, people look for names they're familiar with. And if they're not familiar with a particular company, and that company can be excellent at what they do, they kind of get passed over. So this is our way of kind of opening the door for them and helping them out. And aside from that, we would do contracts with small businesses to help us put on these kinds of events. So that was a small part of what I did as director of procurement. So when the new mayor came on, he indicated that he wanted us to concentrate more on working with minority businesses, small businesses out in the community, creating opportunities for them, making sure that they're aware of opportunities here in the city. And he wanted me to put all my time and effort into that. So I told him, yes, of course, I would do that. And so in that was the birth of the Office of Equal Opportunity. And so our job is when projects are coming out within the city, we ensure that there's going to be an opportunity for either a small business or for minority or women-owned business to have a role in that particular project. And then once that happens, then we monitor to ensure that the majority firm is actually paying and utilizing the services of that individual. So it's a lot of fun in terms of this.
Well, I'm sure it is, especially making sure folks get paid.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes, yes.
Listen, and you know this is gonna go in the record. So for anyone out there that has a contract, I'll be like, wait a minute, Mr. Hayden, you said you out here making sure we get paid. I haven't gotten paid. What's going on?
Yeah, and Ann Marie, as we were talking earlier about some of the project problems that small or minority firms have, it is with most majority firms, they bill every 30 days. Well, then they don't pay until after they get paid. So that would mean a minority or a small business, you might be waiting 45 days before you get your pay. And so what we've tried to do here is to ensure or to at least communicate to majority firms that, look, as opposed to making them wait 45 days to get paid, why don't you pay them when you bill us. You know you're going to get your money from us, so that they don't have to suffer that length of time while you're waiting on your money. In some cases, they've been willing to do that. In other cases, they're like, well, no, I'm not willing to do that. But when we make those things happen, it is all for the effort of making sure that the small business or the minority owned businesses don't go under while they're waiting to get payment from us or from the prime.
And that's a great point. And trust me, I deal with that on a monthly basis where if I'm not the prime on a project and I'm a sub, I'm waiting 60, 90, sometimes 120 days to get paid on something that sometimes I get a check and I be like, oh,
you forgot what that was for.
I forgot what a check was for.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you do have that program in place. And I do believe the city also put in place an option for a faster payout in like 7 to 14 days or something like that, right?
Yes, and and the other thing is, most people now they're getting they don't see a piece of paper anymore. They get direct deposit, and so what our finance department has set up here, yes, ma'am, is direct deposit. You give us your information, and so that way you can get your money a lot quicker than printing up a piece of paper and either having you stop by and pick it up or it gets in the mail. And heaven forbid, with our postal service nowadays, telling when you might get that money.
When you gonna get it?
So yes, we're putting some things in place to kind of be and make it beneficial for our individuals. And this lastly, I know you have some other questions to ask, but I was speaking about community banks. We have the city of West Palm Beach has formed a partnership with three. I call them community banks. One is Valley National and Flagler and Seacoast, where they have entered into a partnership with us so that if a vendor gets a job with us, small business, minority owned firm, that they can go to that bank and say, I have a contract with the city of West Palm Beach. Now, understand, these folks' credit has to be worthwhile as well. We're not going to encourage the banks to loan money to people who are going to skip town the very next day. But for the most part, let's say if they have 10 criteria that the bank requires them to make, but they can only make 7. And then because they have this contract with us, then the bank will say, okay, we're going to take a chance. We're going to provide you with this upfront money or line of credit and so forth that will enable you to go ahead and perform this work and accomplish 2 things. You get some money, but also it builds the relationship between that vendor and that bank now, so that they'll be able to, once they're done with us, they can go to the bank and say, okay, I need this, so I can go out and do this, that, and the other. So, I mean, those are just some of the things that we're doing here to kind of help out our small and minority-owned business.
And that is so critical. Being a contractor for government agencies for years, it helps when you have that type of relationship and opportunity, because a lot of times you're doing the work in advance of being paid,
right?
And the waiting period is it's tough. It's really tough from a cash flow standpoint. Your cash flow is always in flux. So I'm happy to hear that you guys are doing that. Let me ask you about potential opportunities looking forward, because I think that's where sometimes businesses, minority businesses, kind of miss the boat. And I'm sure you can speak to this for chamber members. There are goods and services that the city purchases. Where's the lack? Where do you have a lack of Black-owned businesses for some of the goods and services that you purchase, so people know, hey, if I'm starting a business, let me start in this area, or if I'm looking to expand my services, let me do, or if I'm not doing business with the city of West Palm Beach, let me provide that service, because Frank just said that they need it.
Well, and I think the simplest way, Anne Marie, is this. Uh, if there is a service that a business provides, the city of West Palm Beach can use that service. Um, and we have, when we do our outreach events, we've run across some interesting uh, ventures out there, and I've had to tell them that, well, the city can't use this, but let us put you in contact with some other people that might be able to utilize your services, but it's just not possible with the city. So the answer is we can utilize just about any kind of service here at the city. And what we attempt to do here to make that happen is we have what we call a sheltered market program. Um, and so for small businesses, we can take a project that's like $500,000 that we can shelter so that only certified SBEs can propose on that project. And that way they're not competing against the big boys, they're competing against one another. It also gives them an opportunity to get some work under their belt, to be able to develop a track record in terms of the quality of work that they perform and so forth and so on. And so over the last 3 years, I think we've generated well over $2 million that we've been able to provide for small businesses to perform those services. And so, in answer to your question, we have one that's out now for power washing. Well, in here before, most of that work was being done by non-minority owned individuals, but we've sheltered that. And so, for the most part, those individuals who will probably end up with that work will be people who look like us, because most of the folks who play in that playground that I referred to as below $500,000 are small minority owned firms, even though they're small businesses, but they end up being in that category as well. So that enables us to open up some doors for small businesses in areas where they might not have had an opportunity to participate with us. We have a handyman contract, and we use those for if we need a door put in or a window put in or something like that. So currently we have about five small businesses, which just happen to be minority owned firms, which have that contract with us, and they're doing those kinds of jobs for us. But I'll say this too. One of the other areas where people get into, but it's very difficult, for supplies like pencils, papers, those sort of things. Well, they're competing against uh, Office Depot and people like that who can give us a much better price in terms of dealing with that. But the other thing that we have an opportunity to do, that our threshold, anything below $50,000, we can just get a quote on it, or for $10,000, we can just give the work to them. So there are all kinds of ways that we can open up some doors for small businesses, minority-owned businesses, that they wouldn't have had an opportunity to play in. But as I tell people, if I don't know about you, if I don't know what your services are, there's nothing I can do to help you out.
Absolutely. Well, that brings me to two of my closing questions. Well, one of two of my closing questions. How how does someone get in touch with you and your team to do business with the city of West Palm Beach? And then secondly, how does someone get in touch with you to learn more and join the Black Chamber of Commerce?
All right. So for the city of West Palm Beach, if you go to our website, which is wpb.org/OEO. Actually, we're going to put a little jingle to that. You know, there was a song out about OEO. So, but anyway, we if you go there, that'll pull up all the information of how you get in touch with us, where we're located, our phone numbers, and all that sort of thing. It'll also provide you with information about how you can get certified as either an SBE or a as you know, we did a disparity study, and so now we have a minority-owned slash women-owned business program as well. So that information will be there for you to provide that. If you also go through that same source, I can put you in direct contact with our Black Chamber. We do have a website for the Black Chamber as well that you can go to and get access for. But if that becomes a little difficult, if you'll reach out to me, I will put you in touch with those folks. And lastly, Ann Marie, for this particular question, in both organizations, whether it's the Black Chamber or whether it's the City of West Palm Beach, we are totally committed to providing opportunities for firms who have not always had a fair shake. For example, we're going through this virus, COVID-19. Well, the city of West Palm Beach was the first municipal city to set aside some funding for businesses in West Palm Beach. And the county, which received some money from the state, has made that happen. But there is a true commitment on the part of our mayor and our commission to be supportive of small and minority-owned firms. So I like to say, as you go to Black churches, the minister always tells you the doors of the church are open. We want you to come on in. Well, it's the same thing with the city of West Palm Beach and the Black Chamber. We want you to come on in. We want to be helpful to you to make you successful in whatever it is you're attempting to do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all of that. What's a last takeaway, a golden nugget that you'd like to leave with our audience?
Well, I think it's two things, Ann Marie. There are tools out here that you can take advantage of if you're a small business or a minority-owned business, and you need to take advantage of it. It is not only with the city of West Palm Beach. The Palm Beach County has a program, solid waste program. The Palm Beach County School System has program, and a lot of other municipalities in Palm Beach County have opportunities for you to take advantage of. But once again, it's kind of like the old saying about you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If you don't take advantage of these opportunities out here, that's nobody's fault but yours. And so we have worked very hard, as I mentioned, not only with the city, but with the county and everywhere else, to create these opportunities for small and minority-owned businesses. But if you don't come and take advantage of it, then we can be held accountable for it. And I'll tell you, I've heard this on many occasions, that firms will get certified with us, and then they'll complain that they haven't gotten any work. Well, just because you got a piece of paper that says you're certified, that's just the beginning. You have to be the one that's out there working hard to get an opportunity to do something. And in conclusion, Ann Marie, what I always tell folks when I'm out doing these little talks is the one way you get my attention is that you become a pest. You need to bug me and bug me and bug me, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some work so you'll leave me alone. No, I think that's the case with a lot of us in this business. If you think one meeting with me is going to be it, that's not the case, because I meet hundreds of people on a regular basis, and I can't keep up with each and every one of them. But I do know those who call me on a regular basis. And so that's what you've got to do for all of us. You need to make sure that you become a pest, and that way we'll take care of you in the end.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Hayden. This was very informative. I hope that those who are watching received a lot of great nuggets and takeaways, and will implement a lot of the strategies, will join the Black Chamber, will also become a vendor with the city of West Palm Beach and become certified with the city of West Palm Beach, as well as share this video with others so that way we can spread the good news. We got to, like you said earlier, it's a collective effort for us to, continue to develop and grow our businesses.
Thank you very much, Ann Marie, for allowing me this opportunity to spread the good word. And I think collectively, as you said, this is not, one person cannot make this happen. This has to be a collaborative effort. But we can solve this problem. We can make it better than what it has been. But we all have to work together in order to make that happen. So once again, thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity. And yes, if you send us a copy of this, Sandy Hammerstein, as you know, she knows I love to see my name out there and my picture all over the place. So yes, we're blasted all over the place for this as well. All right.
Absolutely. We will download it and make sure you get a link of the raw file. That way you can add it to your YouTube page, your city's YouTube page, your chamber's YouTube page, so you can continue to share it. Stay with me for one moment. Let me just make a couple of quick announcements. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who have not picked up the issue of the 40 under 40 current issue, please do so by visiting miamediagroup.com. You can actually see it virtually and see who's in there as far as the honorees, as well as some great stories and articles. So make sure you check out the current 40 under 40 issue. Next week's guest is Mr. Japhis Hardrick. He is the president of Florida Memorial Universities, one time for HBCUs. So make sure you tune in for our conversation with him. And I think those are all of our announcements for this week. So thank you again, Mr. Hayden. And everyone, please share this video. Make sure you mark your calendar and tune in again with us next Thursday at noon.
Thank you.